It's been more than 20 years since the world last saw a live-action version of Batman's famous sidekick Robin. But now Robin returns to television as the leader of his own team in the DC original series Titans, based on one of the most popular comic book teams ever, the Teen Titans. And joining me today is Brenton Thwaites and Minka Kelly. Good morning to the both of you. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning, Natalie. How are you?
I am well. I'm excited to talk with you. And I've got to be honest, we've got some guys that are part of our staff that are so into the DC comic world that they are just chomping at the bit to learn more. So I've got questions for both of you here. Brenton, I want to start with you first. Playing Robin.
Yes.
It's one of those roles. It is the most famous sidekick probably ever, but now you get to be the one to take him to the main stage, take him to the main spotlight. Were you a big fan in your past?
I was a big fan as a kid, yeah. Batman was one of those old school shows that I used to watch as a young boy. And growing up, you know, I became more of a fan of the movies, and I think because of the action and the actors involved. And over time, you know, became a fan of the, you know, the huge action comic book, you know, blockbusters that we've seen over the last 10, 15 years dominate Hollywood. But what was cool about this was that Dick Grayson is introduced after just leaving Batman, and he's kind of, you know, almost in a post-traumatic stress state. You know, he's broken, he's angry, he's bitter, and he's a little resentful from, you know, how he was treated and the things he learnt with Batman. So it's a point in the story that that we kind of know a little bit about, but also it's a great starting point for, you know, hopefully what will be many more seasons of storytelling.
And Minka, I want to bring you in. You were touching on the fact about the success of these comic book movies that we're seeing and television shows and shows that like you're a part of. I'm curious, when you saw this script, were you just chomping at the bit like absolutely, or were there some hesitations? Have you done anything like this before? At least when I looked at your career, I didn't think so. What are your thoughts, Minka?
No, I've never done anything like this before. But what I did relate to and what I loved and got excited about was just how they were creating a whole new world in regards to a superhero genre television show. This is a very different take on anything you've ever seen on TV in this regard. And so I was really drawn to the character development that they were coming up with. I mean, these are a group of very lost souls trying to find their way, and the Hawk and Dove duo in particular is a very codependent relationship, and these are deeply broken, deeply flawed people, which I'm very attracted to, and I find to be really relatable stories to tell. And I just think that they've done such a good job of creating a balance in the two worlds of it being so grown up and a more modern take on this genre while also still keeping the superhero aspect of it. I was super excited about that.
You know, I want to go back to you as well, Brenton, because the ironic thing, we've actually had Burt Ward on our show before and have been able to talk with him about playing the original Robin. I want to give you the last word here. Kind of a different take on the Robin that we may and know have loved from the past?
Yeah, very different in style and tone. You know, those old school shows are brilliant in their own right because they create, you know, a fun, action-packed, you know, super comic book vibe. And our show, while, you know, having some of those traditional elements, is really attempting to break into, you know, what would it be like to live in the skin of this character, and you know, not necessarily kick ass and fight crime, but what would it be like to be this character, you know, going home after the fight and looking yourself in the mirror, and you know, maybe having some questions about what you're doing, and seeing that empathy and that pain from living, you know, a life of fighting crime. So it was an interesting thing for me to get involved in, because the fighting crime in the comic book was almost, you know, as an actor, it was almost a sidestep from, you know, the true character development, what's going on with these guys.
Thank you so much. If you want to get more information so you can check out the series for yourself, just be sure to go to DC Universe's streaming service, and there you can learn more about it. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.